Good morning, Congressman Keating. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. Concerned that all targeting the fact that he could be an area of security weakness for us. Now we're finding out some of those complications from the financial side that are being raised. And it's fair to say these are just areas that have been raised. Mm-hmm. There's some scrutiny going to these issues, nothing formally yet. But the fact that a couple of dealings, one is that a meeting that he had in the White House with Apollo Global Management, which is a private equity firm, they extended a loan because Jared's company, which he still has an interest in, has over $1 billion of outstanding loans that are going to come due reportedly in the next several months. And the fact that this company extended a loan to to his real estate firm, his family's real estate firm, and then shortly thereafter, the Securities and Exchange Commission dropped an inquiry into this Apollo Global Management investigation they were doing. So there's concern about whether one thing had to do with the other. Certainly, and this is the point I'll make, whether this is all being able to be proved fully. The problem is it's the appearance of doing this that's a problem. The other issue that was raised was with the country of Qatar, and in that instance, that's where our CENTCOM command is located in the Mideast. That's where the U.S. troops are located, very important strategically to us. And Saudi Arabia sought a blockade, around Qatar. Okay. During this period, Jared's father, Charles Kushner, was approaching the Qataris trying to get a loan to help bail out this business again. They rejected that, and then Jared took a stance against Qatar in the blockade and with Saudi Arabia at the same time that our Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, was trying to round up allies to seek a negotiation rather than the blockade. So you had him going in one direction and the Secretary of State going in another, and this was occurring around the time that his father was going to the government of Qatar seeking financial support to bail out his loans in New York that are total over $1 billion that are coming due.
It's amazing.
So these are, again, I'm not saying, and I'm very careful to say so, that we haven't proven the linkages with this, but the fact that's being raised and the appearance shows this, that if you have that kind of private interest still, financial interest, and you're dealing with people trying to get loans from them, and at the same time you're dealing with U.S. security issues, that kind of even appearance of conflict is something we can't tolerate.
It's something you wouldn't let a selectman or a state representative do.
Well, that's a great point. I mean, these kind of conflicts, even at the local level, let alone our national security, these kind of conflicts wouldn't be tolerated at the lower level. And then you juxtapose the fact that during his security clearance, which we're learning more about, and we talked in your show last week, he's had to make over 100 revisions in his security clearance form. And his financial filings had to be amended 39 times. Now, this is just a little over a year's time where these things were taking place. So these are really concerns that I think should be a priority, should be addressed, and they're really not issues of partisan issues. It does, call into question how you can get the highest level of security, how you can know every little thing about these countries, how you can put yourself into having meetings that our own national security advisor or Secretary of State do not know are taking place, and have these kind of conflicts. So, this has festered in the 1 week we've talked to something that's raising more serious questions.
We're speaking with Congressman William Keating of Massachusetts, our congressman here in the WBSM listening audience. And you're right, and it really popped out last week, and we had a riveting interview last week, and it's available online. Congressman, just want to circle back to Jared Kushner's father, because maybe a lot of people don't know this. I do, but what's his background?
Well, again, that's something that really put, I think, in my opinion, a real harmful effect into the transition that occurred. The president chose Chris Christie to lead his transition into the presidency.
Right.
And according to all reports, that was moving along in an orderly way, pretty normal. But then all of a sudden, the rug was pulled out from Chris Christie, from the position the president appointed it to just weeks before, heading transition. And the reports were it was done at the Jared Kushner's influence was pivotal to that removal, because it was Chris Christie, when he was a federal prosecutor, that prosecuted and put into jail Jared Kushner's father.
It's amazing.
And that set the transition of the Trump team back, and that part is unquestionable.
It's absolutely amazing. And look, as I've said before, I supported Donald Trump. I still support my president, but this is a very, very difficult situation, and I make no excuses there. This is an unbelievable situation with a son-in-law, and he's a very young guy. I mean, you can see where he would make mistakes, even if he had the highest level of integrity. And I'm not questioning that at this point, but he's just too young to be in this position. He never had any experience, and he's got, as you point out, the crown jewels of American intelligence.
Well, no longer, but we're going to have to look back and say what transpired at these meetings, what information went back and forth. And clearly, going forward, we have Netanyahu in Washington for meetings, and the person that was tasked with leading that peace effort can't be part of those meetings because his security clearance has been reduced.
It's very problematic, and it's something that the Trump administration, quite frankly, didn't need, but they brought it on themselves. This isn't somebody outside of the administration doing something to them. They did it to themselves. And
there was no other explanation as to why Chris Christie was removed from that position.
Right.
In the midst of going through what's a difficult job to begin with. But one, he had some abilities to broker, and evidently he was doing a pretty good job. And then all of a sudden, he was gone.
I don't know what to say, Congressman. But you folks are on it, and you're looking into it. Look, we'll just shift gears here. I know you don't have a lot of time with us. How'd you do in the storm? How did your
Well, my house, we lost power like so many other people.
Right.
And the surges that I saw, I went around the district, to some of the shelters. But I think the one thing that I was really astounding to witness firsthand, I went up to Marshfield, and most of the national news clips that we all saw on TV, they were actually filmed in Marshfield.
Right.
And I saw the power of a storm, the likes of which people that have been there their whole lives have never seen before. If you could imagine a 3-story building, the waves were hitting a seawall that was there, crushed the brand new seawall, and shot up over the roof of that 90-foot building.
Right.
Taking half the building down and just putting 6 to 8 feet of water all through a commercial area. It just, the power of nature, the power of the storm. It's a lesson going forward, I think, that we knew it was coming. All the emergency people that train all year at the local level and do such a great job did a great job. I don't think there was any breakdowns in what they did. We could have used more utility workers in our area, more than certainly than we had. And I think that's something going forward. We're going to have to learn that these storms are not the norm. These storms are going to come from time to time, and we can't prepare for it as well as we can and have been prepared for things. We can't prepare for these storms the way we have in the past.
No, I think that's an excellent point. We're speaking with Congressman Bill Keating, who's our congressman and lives in the district. But did you get any damage to your property? You're all right?
I had a few light limbs that were done, but I traveled through parts of the South Shore going to Marshfield. I saw gigantic trees uprooted, hitting the front of houses, some of them miraculously just a few feet short of those houses. But really it was the power loss, I think, that was something that affected the most of the people. Greater losses than we typically get in a storm, that's for sure. And, of course, in my district, too, we had a 32-year-old man in Plimpton who was killed with a tree fell.
Sad.
And that's a tragedy that, certainly our heart goes out to the family.
Yeah. No, I think we had 8 people killed across Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Really amazing thing. Well, Congressman, I know you've got committee hearings to head to.
And it's interesting that these issues we're following have really impacted our nation's security in a way that we have to change. Yeah. Because I'll leave you with this one thought.
Please.
As people investigate and look back at these things as they will in terms of potential conflicts of interest, the appearance only is a factor, and we can't allow even some of our allies, we're looking at using this as an advantage against us, as well as our enemies. And we can't conduct business this way and have these kind of appearances, at least, of conflicts that are so serious, be something that our enemies can seize upon.
Right.
And so, thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Congressman. And we'll get in touch with you next week. Thanks again.
All right, thanks.
Have a great day.